All right, guys. So this is our very first book club, and I thought this would be fun. I'll start by saying my name is Lori Dufresne. I think I know most of you all, but if I have not met you, it's nice to meet you here. So I have been coaching for 6.5 years, and I have really realized that a lot of times people come to us and they want to move forward in their life. And honestly, it all begins with personal growth and development. It just does, hands down. Like it totally does. We got to work on, sometimes we set these goals for ourselves, but then yet life gets hard, we get distracted, we get overwhelmed, and then we stop. Has anybody ever gone through that before, where we lose sight of our goals, we get distracted, and we fall off? So no matter what your goal is in your life, whether it be, getting a better job or excelling in your career or losing weight or whatever it is, like a goal is a goal. So really, I found Rachel Hollis, last year when, I saw her Girl Wash Your Face. Actually, she did a little movie thing. I don't know if any of you guys she did like a little movie premiere at some of the select movie theaters. So I didn't even know who she was, and I found out about her from some other fellow health coaches, and I went and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just truly amazing. And she really teaches hand in hand of what we teach with Optavia, right? About the whole personal growth and development and goal setting and such. So it's very cool. So I'm going to just start really quick. I don't know if any of you guys have read Girl Wash Your Face or not, but I'm going to just play like a small little excerpt from YouTube here so we can just kind of get a good vibe going for today. Here we go.
Tell me you don't have the time, I'm going to call bullcrap. I'm going to call bullcrap on you all year long. That's what 2017 is about, because here's the thing, you guys. It is not about choosing what you want right now. It is about choosing what you want most. Other people don't get to tell you what you can have. Someone else doesn't get to tell you who you can be. That's on you. Go all in. Take massive action immediately, not on Monday, not at the new year, not next month. Right now, today, take massive action to get you to your goal. Anything you want for yourself, you have to do yourself. And the first step to getting there is that we're not going to have a dream. We're going to have a plan. Listen to me. Nobody is ever going to care about your dreams as much as you do, no matter what they are. Nobody. I believe deeply that you are capable of anything you set your mind to, but you got to set your mind to it and go all in. So you need to start with your goal and reverse engineer from there and not give up when it gets hard or when it's taking too long, because that is part of life. There are days that are going to be hard, but don't encourage the hard stuff. Don't encourage the suckiness by surrounding yourself with affirmations of giving up. You are stronger than you have become. You can do more than you think you can do. You are capable of whatever you set your mind to. Plan your life accordingly. Sometimes you just have to sit in the hard space. Sometimes you just have to live in the tension. In fact, I think that's the only way that you actually get stronger about anything. You don't grow or change or become who you want to be by sitting in one place. You become that person once you take a leap of faith and you're flying through the air and you have no idea if you have a parachute, how you're going to land. You don't know what you do. That is how you become who you were meant to be. So jump. Maybe you were given this mountain to show other people that it can be moved. The warriors who have walked through hard times, that is how the rest of us know that we can get somewhere. You can look at your past and see a line of mistakes, see only the hard things that life threw your way. Or you can recognize all of the times that you overcame adversity, that you pushed through the hard stuff, that you got it done. And then you go through something strong and you become stronger in the process. You remember the power of Me Too. And when you see a sister and she's carrying baggage that you carried for years, now you are stronger. And you can say to her, girl, I can help you carry that load because I know what it feels like to unpack that bag. I will raise my hand and I will be the first person that tells you that it happened to me. And not only did it happen to me, but that I've walked through it and I'm on the other side. Stop crying about what happened and take control of what happens next. Get up right now. Rise up from where you've been. Scrub away the tears and the pain of yesterday and start again. Girl, wash your face.
Wow. So good, right? It's awesome. So you know how she's like carrying that bag and she's just saying, you know, the baggage that you're carrying, right? You guys, sometimes we're given that baggage to overcome it so we can help someone else. And that's how we find our purpose in what we're going through. So like she said, I'm that girl. Well, I'm here to say that I'm that girl. I'm that girl too, that has carried the baggage, has pushed through. And that's what's so awesome about what we get to do. And that's what's so awesome about some of the ladies that I've invited to share tonight, because I've had the privilege and the honor of working with so many of them on a personal level and seeing them break through. And that's why we do what we do. And I realized as I was sitting on an airplane reading this book, I'm like, I'm not doing this book alone. And it's so crazy because I'm like, I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know who's going to join. But I know that we do have a group of a couple thousand people in our Healthy Together group that are all there for a reason and they want to move forward in their life. So let's do this together. Like, are you guys in? Like, this is amazing that we get to do life together and strengthen each other and move forward. And we're just real people doing life. That's all we're doing. And some are willing to break through and some aren't. So I'm just encouraging you guys to just don't do it alone. We are stronger in community, and we're going to read this book and we're going to challenge each other, and let's have a blast doing it, because this is our life that we're given and there's no reason to sit in fear anymore. So you guys in? Put a 1 in the chat. Blow it up. All right. So what I did, you guys, because this book, and I don't want to be the only one talking, so the part 1 is excuses of letting go. So what I've done is I've asked some of the ladies that I've been working with to just jump on and share a little bit about like what breakthrough they had. Okay, so everybody that's going to be sharing tonight has experienced breakthrough. And if you think about where you're at in your life, like if you're wanting to move forward, ask yourself the question all the time: am I focusing on the fear or am I focusing on the breakthrough? Because when we're focused on the fear, we're never going to stop. We're never going to make any forward movement. But when we focus on the breakthrough, then we're like, yeah, it's going to be scary. So don't be surprised by that. But then what we do is we just take the action steps every day to start making things like that happen. Okay. So the first person I'm going to ask to share is Karen Natiros. Karen, do you want to share on excuse number 1, that's not what other women do, and how this kind of spoke to you and how you've applied this into your life? And guys, just real quick, if you want to put it on speaker view, there's a gallery view or a speaker view. If you put it on speaker view, then you can see the speaker up bigger, or if it's on gallery view, you'll see everybody. So however you'd like to prefer that. But Karen, will you take it away?
I will try. Okay, so here's me being really honest. When Lori asked me if I would share, I was reluctant to share because I get very nervous with these things. So that is one of the things that, I am trying to overcome, and one of the things that I do feel that, when Lori's talking about fear, just pushing through it and having to just face the fear and just do it scared. That's kind of like one of my mantras. It's like taped to my computer screen because I have to do lots of things scared, because I'm naturally a shy person. So, I'm shy in front of people like this. Okay. So anyway, but that's not what we're here to talk about. So, but Lori, I see you laughing, Lori. Okay. All right. So basically the whole thing with this first excuse about something about not what other women do. What spoke to me about that is when I first started this, I was actually comparing myself to a lot of other women that are doing this already. And trying, wondering like why I wasn't like those people, like the other women that are like successful or who were out there like so confident and boldly sharing and things like that. So what I realized, and just even from reading this, is like if you read her about how she was just comparing herself to like stay-at-home moms and trying to fit that mold, what the thing is God has gifted each and every one of us with our own gifts. And each one of us is unique. And God doesn't make mistakes. So he made you just as he wanted you to be. And what we need to do is truly just embrace that about ourselves and realize that God does not make mistakes, and he gave you certain gifts and talents. And if we can tap into our personal gifts and our talents and use those, then we are going to blossom and we are going to be successful, and we are going to be able to show up in a way that he wants us to show up. So it's not about trying to be like somebody else or fit somebody else's mold. It's about fitting God's mold for our life and giving of ourselves every day in the way that he wants us to. And if we do that, then you are going to be authentic and be you and be able to help people in ways that you could not believe you could do, or do things that you didn't think you could do. Like me talking on this screen. Like that's something that I never thought I could do. So that's what I took from that, is like, don't compare yourself to other women. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just embrace the gifts that you have been given and make the most of those. And that's, to me, that's the recipe for success to me. And that's why you don't want to compare, because when you start comparing, we talk about comparative reality all the time, even with the 5 in 1 and on the Healthy Together page. When you're comparing yourself to what you think the mold should be and what you think everybody wants you to be, then you're not going to show up the way God wants you to be. So that's my take on it.
I love it, Karen. I love it. And it's true. Comparative reality is going to defeat you every single time. And I think we always show up with just always comparing ourselves to other people, or thinking that it needs to look a specific way, but then you're losing sight of your uniqueness and where you are. And if you stay in your own lane, you guys, like seriously, you're going to start seeing and celebrating how far you have come instead of how much further you have to go. Like, slow down and smell the roses, really slow down and just have that gratitude of where you want to head. So I'm going to cover, thank you, Karen. That was awesome. So excuse number 2, I'm not a goal-oriented person. Well, I took this one because I was never a goal-oriented person, ever. I never set goals because I never thought that I was going to achieve them. So I just never even put myself out there. I wanted to read this. It says, well, they're just not goal-oriented kind of gal. They've decided that it's simply their genetic makeup. Some people are into that whole personal growth thing, and some people aren't. These people may even wish they were that kind of person, but don't have a lot of hope for it because that's just not the way they're wired. So, wow, is that full of concepts? Right? Like when you think about that, I was so full of concepts because the youngest of 5 kids growing up, I was raised to have children. Like that was it. In my family, in my Lebanese home, like we were just raised, I'm going to get married and I'm going to have kids. So I never really had big goals or aspirations for myself personally. So that's why I really wanted to talk on this, because I didn't realize until later in life, until I started erasing the belief systems and the concepts of what I believed to be true of myself as a child. And as I into my adulthood, I realized that I had to break those old concepts. So really think about your life and maybe what you were raised with as a child, things that you weren't necessarily told, but things that just you saw, like this is what life looks like. Okay. And so for me, as I became older, it just kind of clicked with me one day. I'm like, I don't want to be like this anymore. I do want to be successful. I do want to make a big difference in this world. I don't want to be shy anymore. I do want to have goals. And it's like, you guys, it's that breakthrough. And yes, it was a very scary place. Of course, it's a scary place to break through. But you got to be more attached to what you want instead of attached to your current reality of like, this is just the way life is. You know, I didn't even like to be a reader. I'm like, I did not have a growth mindset. So I could easily just say, oh, I don't have time for reading. Or, oh, I don't see myself as being a goal-oriented person. I'm just going to stay in my victimhood and be in financial debt and just live my life this way. And this is just what life looks like. Poor me. And then I had to light that fire under my butt and realize that I need to get out of this place because I want to get out of this place. I want more for my life. So that's what I love about this personal growth and development, because it lights a charge under you guys, and it helps you to really realize, like, okay, if I did put a little bit of effort in, what am I going to get out of it? And that's how you start reprogramming your thought process of what you want to create. So that's my takeaway. All right, let's see who's up next for 3. That's going to be April. Pick Karen. That's
yes.
What's the name of that chapter?
I don't know.
Let's see. Here. Oh, here it is. Perfect for you, April. I don't have time.
Right. Perfect. So I really resonated with this because I remember when I first became a coach, I said I didn't have time because I had 3 jobs. I worked 60 hours a week. I belonged to 1 million organizations, and I did not think I had time. So what she says in this book is and I love these quotes. She says, you aren't going to find the time to pursue your goals. You're going to make the time to pursue your goals. Nobody has time. Nobody. So, when I look at some of the other people in this business that have, so many challenges. They've got severely disabled children. They live hand to mouth before they started doing this. They've got all kinds of things going on way beyond what I had, but they can make this work. It's because they made this a priority. So one of the other things that Rachel Hollis says, it says, you need to accept that you are in control of your schedule. It's not your children. It's not your boss. It's nobody but you. You're the one that accepted that job. You're the one that does whatever you do with your children. And I don't think she's saying, ignore any of that. I just think what she's saying is that you do have control of your schedule. And then she went on to say, there isn't one thing on your schedule that you didn't allow to be on there. But you must have the willingness to do whatever it is that you want to do. So, she writes, are you willing to give up today's rest for tomorrow's possibilities? And I just love that because I know that what I ended up doing is taking Lori's mentorship and learning how to set my schedule so that I had my rocks in my schedule. And then I was able to see all the white space I had. And when I looked at that white space, when I thought I was so busy, it was because I was playing Candy Crush and I was watching TV. And, I still do that, but I do it very selectively, very late at night when I have there's nothing left in me. So the last thing I'll say that I really love that she talked about in this chapter was that the first thing is to give up the excuse that you don't have the time. That's all it is. It's just an excuse. So when you figure out how much time you have available that you want to give to anything that you have your heart's desire on, then whatever that's, let's say you have 5 hours in a week that you can give to something. That's what she gave as an example. Then you should use that 5 hours during your best time. So for me, my best time, and I totally rearranged my schedule when I finally realized this, my best time is in the morning. That's when I'm most productive. I'm not very good at this time, but I'm very good in the morning. So that's why I've rearranged the things that I really want to get accomplished quickly in the morning, because I can do the same thing in the evening and it will take me twice as long because I'm not at my best. And that's just how I operate. But anyway, I really enjoyed the chapter a lot. Oh, one other thing. She said, plan your schedule weekly. Very important. Reaffirm your priorities and don't wait to have the time to start planning to make the time. Thank you.
Thank you. I love it. And I love that this is the chapter you got because you really, really have worked very hard on that, April, and it's made the world of difference in all areas of your life. Also learning to say no to things, you guys, that's a whole nother topic. But man, like we sometimes we show up as a hero all the time because we just want to serve and we want to take care of people. And that's just usually what women do, right? That's our human nature. And so learning to say no to things sometimes so you can serve what's most important to you and taking care of you and your family first and not showing up overwhelmed again. Okay, thank you, April. So excuse number 4, I'm not enough to succeed. Tracy, you want to take this one?
Hi, this is my chapter. How many of you feel not enough? Anybody beside me? I mean, I love the way she outlines the chapter talking about, it's a subconscious thing that we do from go. I mean, I don't know if you want to, if any of you have been through personal growth seminars and really, dug in deep and looked, and we can really get into what we call examining our navel, looking. But when it's all done and all over, you have to realize you just have to make a choice to lower that voice and not hear, I'm not enough. Because I will tell you, I can go back to as early as elementary school, 2nd grade. My best friend was this little tiny girl who, when I used to help her fold her clothes, they were like little Barbie clothes. They were like she was so little. And I wasn't a big girl. I was just bigger than her. And way back then, I felt like I wasn't enough because I wasn't a tiny little girl like her. Does that make sense? So my not enough started there. And when I was in elementary school, I was so shy and quiet. I used to cry in the lunchroom. And there was this big lunch lady. She was a big lady. And she used to scream at me and point her finger and say, you big baby, shut up. You cry all the time. Like I wanted to sit with my sister. And she didn't want me to sit with my sister. I had to sit with my class. And so like everything was just always in my face about, like, I felt not enough. Like, why was I so afraid all the time? Why was I so nervous? Why was I, my mom said when I was a little girl, I would cry from the time she left till the time she got home. And I said, well, what did I do when you came home? I said, did I run and hug you? She said, no, you just stopped crying. Like, so I don't know if it's a genetic thing because my mother did it and her mother did it and my daughter did that too. My daughter cried till she was in 5th grade. I had to walk her to class. But whatever it is that's innate or genetic or wherever it comes from, Rachel talks about how we decide from go that we're not enough and then we prove ourselves right. And the very thing that we need to overcome, the obstacle is the way, is the thing that we don't push through. And so, I can give you example after example, high school, middle school, in young adulthood where constantly I felt not enough. And to be quite honest, I still feel not enough. But like Rachel says, a lot of those are based on opinion and not fact. And what she encourages us to do is to look at the things that we have done and to look at the areas that we do win in and to look at those and muster that up and move forward in that. Because really, I think what it boils down to for me is just that you have to make that voice lower. It's probably always going to be there. I haven't learned to completely remove it, but I will tell you where my biggest breakthrough came from. It's always been with mentors. Now, back in the day when I was being mentored, I didn't know that that's what it was called. But I can remember from my very first job, the one thing I always had, and Rachel talks about the things that she did do, and the letter that she wrote to herself about being persistent, is that persistence spoke to her and showed her all the things that she did do. And one of the things that I've always had is a really great work ethic. I've always worked really hard and somewhat prided myself on that. And so when I got my first job, my first boss took me from the cashier at the end of the line to preparing the meals to being in the accounting department and doing the office work and every job that I went to. So there was a mentor there that I didn't even realize was a mentor. But I didn't feel enough to do the things that he was asking me to do. But I figured if he owns this business, he thinks I can do it. Well, heck, maybe I can. And so I was enough because he thought I was, not because I felt like it. And then I went to my next job, and I was in the restaurant industry again, food and beverage. And my boss wanted to build a restaurant from scratch up, and he invited me to come and join along. And I was everything but a financial partner, and I didn't even know what we were looking at when we were looking at the blueprints. You know, and he burnt me on that one day. He said, Trace, where's the, where's the part of the dining hall going to be? And I just shook my head. He said, you don't know how to read those blueprints, do you? And I'd been looking at them for almost a year. And I said, no, I don't. But we all laughed because it didn't matter. I wasn't enough. I was hiding then, but I knew he believed in me. Then I got into the seminar industry, and my boss there, he used to throw me up in front of crowds of people, and I was shaking like a leaf, but I would center myself and think, if he thinks I can do it, his job's on the line, not mine. He's putting me there. So whether or not I believe I'm enough, that's an opinion I even have of myself. I have to trust him. And same thing here in this industry. What did I know about health coaching? But my mentor, Janet, and Shireen and Laurie, they believed in me. So I went with their believing I was enough. So do you see the pattern here? I don't know if I'm going to wake up one day and feel totally enough. I think there will always be something there, a little something that I'm going to have to push through. But all that I have to do is look at what I did do in the past, know that, like Rachel said, if I did it before, I can do it again, and know that I have plenty of people around me that believe that I am enough. And that's pretty darn good, don't you think? So somebody out there, whether they're your health coach or your business mentor, they believe in you and they know you're enough. So borrow, I've heard it said from a great mentor, borrow their belief, borrow their faith, and know based on your past results that here's the truth, you are more than enough. We are more than enough. Like Karen said, we've been given gifts and talents and qualities that are God ordained for us personally. And don't compare your journey with someone else's, because you don't know where they are on their journey and they don't know where you are. And it doesn't even matter about anybody else's journey. Be enough on your own journey. And if you don't have what you think you need right now, borrow somebody else's till you get there. Does that make sense?
Love it. Love it, Tracy. Thank you so much. And I'll speak for myself too. I have only gotten to where I am because of mentorship, because of surrounding myself around people that do believe in me and teach me how to look at my life different, how to see a different perspective. Like, I am so grateful for mentors, and every mentor, even from a child. So those are great. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Tracy. Okay, excuse number 5. This is a biggie. I can't pursue my dream and still be a good mom, daughter, or employee. Gina, do you want to take this one?
Hi, yes, thank you. And thanks for doing this for all of us. I know we're all going to benefit from it. So excuse number 5, I can't pursue my dream and still be a good wife, mother, employee. You fill in the blank, she says. It could be a lot of things. And she says that, we only have one chance at this life, and we can't be wasting our life living for everyone else. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be completely selfish and forget everybody else around you, but she does say that you should be selfish in some way. She says the problem is that women struggle to show up for themselves. And I think as women, as wives, as females, sometimes we tend to put other people first, and we shove our dreams on the shelf, and we forget we even have them sometimes to live up to what we think is our role as a mom or a wife, even as an employee. She talks about how there's this work-life balance that everyone thinks exists, but that there's really no such thing. It's not like a noun that you achieve, that work-life balance is actually something that's almost like a verb that you're constantly pursuing. There are times in your life where you, in order to pursue your own dreams, you it doesn't mean a balanced life, but a centered life. And so in some areas of your life, they may take precedence over other areas of your life in order to pursue your dreams. So you may have a busy season where maybe work life might take more time than family life, but as long as you have the end in mind and a long-term vision, that's the balance that you're creating, knowing that I'm doing this right now to pursue that later. And in my own life, I feel like I've really been able to break through this excuse. The last 20 years of my life, I think I've really done well in pursuing my dream and not shelving it for other people's dreams. And I do it because I'm setting an example for my three girls, my three daughters. I want them to know that they can have what they believe they are their dreams, and that they don't have to put other people's dreams in front of them. Just recently, in fact, today is my last day at my job, my full-time job, and I'm so excited about that. And it didn't mean that this last year, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is this last year I worked hard burning the candle at both ends so that I could get to this point of being able to pursue a different dream. And so there were times where I felt like I had to put my family second, with the understanding that there was a long-term vision in front of that. And as long as everybody knew what was going on, and we had a vision and there is an end result, then you can do that. She talks about mommy guilt and how mommy guilt is not good, because mommy guilt is a way that, we have this guilt that we feel like we're failing our children, or that we feel bad about wanting more for ourselves. But that's not true. In fact, guilt and shame are not from God. So when we start feeling that guilt, it's not taking responsibility for the promises that God gave us. And like April said, or I think it was Karen, to be able to use the gifts that we have to its fullest. So when we're living our life to our fullest, we can pursue the dreams that God gave us and be that good mother, good wife, employee, partner, living up to our fullest potential without feeling that we're putting everybody else second. So anyway, that's what I got out of this chapter.
I love it, Gina. Thank you so much. It's so awesome to see somebody who's living that out in full action, and it just, the reward that you're doing and you're giving to your children right now, like that's a beautiful example. So thank you. Okay. Excuse number 6. I'm terrified of failure. Wow. Shireen, you want to take this one? You got to unmute, girl.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this was really perfect for me to share on, as Lori knows full well. Whenever I was listening to this chapter, the first thing she was talking about was, in front of like 850,000 people, she shared her dream and her goal in the book publishing world, where you don't do that. And I started to think about all the different things that I was wanting to pursue, but was so afraid of failing and failing miserably. And, so I started thinking about that, and it was like, okay, so I was looking through my life, and it's like, okay, so I stepped into like cheerleading, and I failed miserably at it. And so there were these different things that I was stepping into that I was not always accomplishing, and excuse me, and then I was in my head thinking, I'm a failure, I can't do this, I can't do this, until one day, whenever, I had gone on my own health journey 6 years ago, and, I was at the place of huge desperation, not only, as far as my weight, but also mentally and emotionally. And I was like, when I reached out to Lori, I was I need help. I seriously need help. And Lori sharing the program with me and me thinking in my head, I don't know if this is going to work, but if I don't do something, I know where my path is going and it's not good. And so trusting Lori and stepping into that. And even though I was scared to death because I didn't know what that outcome was, stepping into that. And that started to really build my confidence. And I have done so many other things in the past. And, you know, some things I've been very successful at, but a lot of things I haven't been. And so whenever Lori had asked me to prayerfully consider becoming a coach, oh man, it's the best way I can describe it is the fear and the terror just flooded me. And I was like, I don't want, I can't fail because of all the things in my head, what I thought that would represent. I will be, you know, confirming my worst fears that I'm a failure. And so after 2 months of prayerfully considering this, you know, I was talking with my husband, Paul, and I was just saying, you know what, this is what I feel like the Lord is saying to me. And he said, well, what's holding you back, Shireen? And I just burst into tears and just shared all of my insecurities and all of my things that I was terrified of. And he said, but that's not true. That is not facts. That's what you have decided that those things are. And so I stepped into this and, you know, just decided, you know what, I don't know what this is going to look like, but I truly want to make a difference in people's lives. And so stepping into this and not, you know, just realizing if I can help one person, that's all that matters. And I had no idea, you guys, that what would come from this is not only making a huge difference in thousands of people's lives, but truly how this has impacted me. And through this process of being a coach almost 6 years, what has come up for me is that I realize that, and from my wonderful mentorship with Lori, is that all of those things that I stepped into, and yeah, maybe I did fail at them, they were not saying that I wasn't worthy and that I wasn't good enough or that I couldn't do this. They were stepping stones of taking me where was the next step that God wanted to prepare me for. And to have that shift in the perception of that, of realizing, no, I'm just learning as I'm going along. And it's not a failure, but it's taking what I have learned and being able to step into that next thing that God has called me to do. And my whole life has changed because of that. I mean, in so many different, every area of my life has changed. Where I used to compare myself to everybody. And when I realized I have to let that go. If I don't let that go, I'm going to stay stuck here. And by letting that go, the freedom that I was looking for was on the other side. And so if you guys are afraid of whatever your dreams are, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's going and saying, I want to go and run a half a marathon, or I want to go and learn how to, create something, whatever it is, know that you can do it, and don't allow the limitations of whatever whatever you have thought that those different things in your life have meant as far as failures, and saying that you're a failure, you're not enough. Stop that and allow that to shift and say, no, I am enough. And I am I'm fully capable. And if I have this dream that is just welling up inside of me, I'm going to step into this. And I'm not stepping into this by myself, because God has planted that seed and that dream inside of me. And he's going to help me every single step of the way. So there you
I
go.
love it. Thank you, Shireen. Thank you. It's been super cool to see you, like we always say, kick fear in the face. Like you have really, really done so. And it's so cool, guys. I mean, really ask yourselves we spend the majority of our life being attached to the fear. That's kind of how we're all instilled. And she mentions that in the book, right? So it's like, are you giving all of your power to the fear? Because it's clearly not helping you get the life that you desire. So, if you're looking this way, like you're only looking that I'm so scared, this is the life I see. It's a completely different perspective to literally turn around and look at a whole new perspective and just say, what if I wasn't scared? What if I did take that leap? What if I did trust and see what life could be like on the other end? Because I know everybody that's sharing tonight has broken through a lot of fear, and we still are every single day. Like we're never going to have arrived. Thank you, Shireen. Okay, so the next chapter is excuse number 8. Are we up to 8? No, 7. Shannon, do you want to come off? This chapter is It's Been Done Before. How did this chapter speak to you?
For me, this spoke a lot with, again, it's like kind of repeat of what a lot of, other ladies have already said. It's been done before. So for me, like a year and a half ago when I reached out to my coach, I was searching, I was desiring, I wanted more. So more health, more of a healthy mindset. But the fear of, this, everybody else has gone through this. Am I going to, the failure part, the excuses we tell ourselves. And I had to get past that and to get, to go through growth and breakthrough. And there is a part in here where she says, you're afraid that you'll suck because you fail at everything. So why should this be any different? And then she says, God Almighty, nightgown, is this really how you speak to yourself? So a lot of times, like we put that negativity in our minds and think of, this is going to be, again, like something else I'm going to fail out, whether it's program or life or your new job, whatever it might be. But we all have our own uniqueness. We have our own purpose that we were created for. And I had to realize that and go get past that and get past my fears, get past comparing. And that's where I think this chapter, what it talks a lot about is comparing. And again, it's been done before, but each one of us has our own personal goal, our own achievement, our own anything that we're expectations, anything that we're going through to get to where we want to be. And I just had to break through that and focus and take, again, the same thing, take the action steps daily and just get out of my head and to take those steps every day to pushing past and learning the more positivity and that I'm not finished yet. And that even though it's been done before, that not everybody's story is the same, that your uniqueness and your purpose is going to help somebody else with their breakthrough. So that's kind of it.
I love it. Thank you, Shannon. I've loved to see your breakthrough. Like you have just blown my mind over the past, how long has it even been? Like a year or two?
like a year and a half.
Yeah. I mean, blown away by your breakthrough. And it's super cool to see, like, talk about someone turning on a major growth mindset. You have just taken it on, girl. Very, very proud of you. So thank you for sharing. That's awesome. I love so much about that because it's the comparative reality game is so intense for so many people. And I wish, like when I see people going there, it's like, guys, it's none of our business what other people are doing. We're on our own journey. And if we're jealous and we're envious of what other people have in their life, why? Ask yourself. It's a hard question. Well, why is everybody else losing weight faster? And why is everybody else, so successful and they have better marriages and they have better kids and we do this as women, right? It overtakes our mind. And the noise that starts happening in our mind is a distraction. It's a distraction from us creating our best life. And it's an easy way out. The noise and the distraction and giving power to the noise and the distraction, it's playing the easy game. So what if you look at it like that from now on? The next time you start getting into comparative reality and you start thinking about, well, it's not fair, or look at them and how come they get that and I don't. The next time you guys get there, tell yourself this: it's none of my business. Their life is none of my business. So why am I so attached to their life? Why don't I start creating my own? And that could be very harsh reality and it's hard talk, but we're all here to grow. And sometimes we need the tough love. And I have to say this to myself all the time, you guys. I have to have this talk with myself all the time. None of your business, Lori. Get back in your lane again. Because we've all got a different lane. And why are we allowing ourselves to get defeated? Why are we allowing ourselves to not live out our best life? Why are we giving our power to everybody else to control our life? We just need to stop. Just quiet the noise. Quiet, done. It's nonsense. It's lies. We have our own journey. I have my own journey. And like Shireen was talking about, like past failures. Yeah, we've all had a lot of past failures, but what if we don't look at them as failures? What if we look at them as opportunities to see what we grew from, what we learned from those we'll say mistakes or failures? There are no mistakes. There's no mistakes. Everything was presented to us for a reason, and that was for us to break through it and move on to take the next step in our life. Okay, so can we all make this agreement this week that we are going to just, when we get into comparative reality, quiet, done. It's none of my business. Let me focus on me right now. Let me celebrate me right now. What did I do great today? Because we got to retrain our stinking thinking. We got to retrain that nonsense to start getting into a place of gratitude. Because the second you can get into a place of gratitude, we're not thinking about them anymore, are we? We're thinking about ourselves. Oh, what can I possibly be thankful for today? It was a horrible day. I got to find something that I'm thankful for. When we get like that, then we're right back on us again. Oh, okay, let me think. What am I grateful for? And now I'm not thinking about them anymore because they're none of my business. I mean, yes, we love them. However, we don't need to be distracted by them. Okay? So, okay, I got a little offset there. So excuse number 8, is that where we're at now? What will they think? And I think Jen's got this one. Yeah, Jen.
Yes, that was perfect, Lori, because you completely teed me up for what this is. So when we were first going through a lot of these, and Lori kind of threw these out at us, this one just jumped out at me like crazy because, and I think it applies to every single woman because, I mean, maybe I'm speaking just for myself, but I think we all care a lot about what other people think. And there's a lot of fear attached to this particular one because we're afraid. A lot of times we're afraid of what other people are going to think. I know that for me, this came from when I was a little girl. Because I basically had, I adore my mother, but my mother was very much like worried about what other people were going to think. So I grew up in this environment of constantly being aware of what other people were going to think of our family, of me, of my mom, of whatever. And so this has always been kind of an issue in my life. And then when I had children, it just duplicated. It was like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but before I went on this health journey, I mean, a lot of you know my health journey. I, was in a miserable place. But the funny part is that while I was in my miserable place on Facebook, I didn't let anybody know I was in my miserable place. I was like putting on the best face. And most of the time it wasn't pictures of me, by the way. It was like my kids. It was me putting up this front that everything in my life was grand and perfect and awesome. And, always showing everything great that my kids did and everything. And that was because of the how I grew up. We always had to put on the best face. So the cool part is how much I've grown in the last couple of years, because I realized really quickly that Optavia and just even getting back to Rachel Hollis, like what she's all about is just being authentic and real, right? And when we are just showing our real selves, that's when people can connect to us. And that's when, people are growing through what we're going through. So all of that said, this chapter just really spoke to me, because in the beginning, she talked about how she took her kids to karate. She pulled up her laptop and she started working. And all of a sudden she started getting looks from other people. Well, as I was reading this, I was like, oh my gosh, this happened to me today. I was at a volleyball tournament, and I've been at a 3-day volleyball tournament. It's been nuts. Well, I needed to get some work done today. So literally I'm at the volleyball tournament and I'm out in the lobby and I'm doing some work. But none of the other moms were. They were all just chatting and talking and stuff. And it dawned on me, like, gosh, I wonder if they think, oh, she's just over there working, It's the same exact scenario as Rachel Hollis pulling out her laptop while her kids were at karate. And you know what? It dawned on me, and I even posted something on social media today of a picture of myself selfie with the girls with the volleyball in the back, and said, basically, I love my volleyball days. This is what I get to do now that I'm a health coach. Because on another Monday, midday, I would have been teaching. I wouldn't have even been able to be at the volleyball tournament. Okay, so her whole point was a different life, right? Her whole point in the book was that there are moms who wished they would have been at karate, being present, in that place. So I love that Lori talked about, and this was quoted in this chapter, someone else's opinion on how you're doing or what you're doing is none of your business. And I've really had to adopt that. It is none of my business what other people think of me. And whatever they think of me, whatever I'm posting on social media, whatever I'm doing at a volleyball tournament, it's none of my business what they think. What they think is their own opinion. Other people's opinions or expectations, it's not my business. And so sometimes we really fear what those other people are going to think of us. And so really, when we get in that place in our head, that's when we are losing that hope and that dream. And so it's really important to really be aware that that's what ends up happening is we get trapped. We get really trapped in other people's opinions and expectations. And you guys, it's a choice. We get to choose, right? It's that whole idea of we're giving them our power if we get wrapped up in that trap. It's a choice that we get to make. And one last note on this is basically she talks about how there's 2 different kinds of negative opinions. There's the substantiated ones and there's the hearsay. The substantiated ones, for me, don't even really happen that much. Those are the ones that somebody is specifically like attacking you or coming at you and saying, you're this or you're that or whatever. The hearsay is the one that I stumble on the majority of the time, and probably you do too, because it's what we do to ourselves. It's we sabotage ourselves in our own mind because we think that a person might be thinking of us in this certain way. And it's like, they haven't even said they're thinking of us in that certain way, but we tell ourselves, we convince ourselves that that they think this. And it's like, we completely sabotage ourselves. And that's where I get stuck the majority of the time, is in that hearsay, because I am reading way too much into what I think somebody else might think of me. And it's just crap, you guys. It's crap from the pit, okay? And so it needs to be a choice that we make to say, no, it's none of my business what they think of me, okay? And so that's what I got for you there.
I love it. That was amazing. That was amazing. I don't know if you have the audio or not, Jen, but if on this, I'm going to post this flow chart. If you guys have the book, it's amazing. It's on page 73. I'll put a picture of this. Look at my Post-it notes everywhere. I'm going to put a picture of this in the group because it is hilarious. Like, it's amazing. Other people's opinions, a flow chart, and it lets you see, like, don't worry about it. Absolutely don't worry about it. Oh crap, definitely don't worry about it. Like, when people are saying stuff, you guys, seriously, it will get to a point where it's comical to you. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I spent so many years and years and years going below the line thinking that everybody else, like, who cares anyway? Like, I know it's easier said than done, and it takes a lot and a lot and a lot of practice, but the more you put it into practice, the easier it's going to become, you guys, just like anything. Okay, so I'm going to finish this one up with, let's see, so chapter 9, excuse number 9, good girls don't hustle. Love it. I am a good girl. I'm a really, really good girl. I'm a pleaser. I grew up that way. I want to do everything right. I want to make everyone happy. I just want to do everything the right way. And so for me, there was a lot of stuff where, I mean, that whole mommy guilt we were talking about, like, I can't possibly, make a beautiful career and then put my children last. It's not okay to be successful. I had to just fight through so many, oh my gosh, so many concepts that have just truly overtaken me over the last several years. But I love here, it says, I love a hustler. I love someone who is unabashed about what they want for their lives and refuses to let anyone talk them out of it. Honestly, guys, like, ladies, I keep saying guys, ladies, be a hustler. Like, hustle for your life, hustle for your family, hustle for your goals. Like, don't settle. All of those other people, honestly, the fears, it all comes from others. The insecurities, it all comes from others. If you guys want to lose 100 pounds, hustle it. Get it done. No more ridiculous self-talk telling you that you can't do it anymore. If you want to build a thriving business, hustle it. Go do it. Do the work every day. Bust through the fear. Get into action. Like, we have to eliminate the emotion. The emotion stops us every single time. And yes, we are women. We are emotional. Yes, we're not going to disregard the emotion. But if the emotion overtakes you, it's going to cripple you and stop you from taking the action to get to your goal. Okay, does that make sense? So the sooner that you can get out of the emotional roller coaster, the emotional hamster wheel, all that is a distraction. Emotion's a distraction. I'm going to coin that. Emotion it's just a distraction. It's stopping you from getting yourself into motion to get what you want in your life. And always just focus on purpose, you guys. Focus on purpose instead of the fear, because when you're focusing on purpose, like, if I can break through this and help somebody else believe that they can have this too, when you're coming from a purpose place, your focus isn't on you anymore. It's on them. So get your why, get a stronger why. And if you don't have a why, connect with your coach and say, I need help. I need help figuring out my why, because I'm allowing fear and overwhelm to overtake me, and I'm not doing the steps I need to move forward in whatever area of my life I'm trying to move forward in. Get help. Talk to someone that supports you, and don't ever take advice from anyone that you would not trade places with in that area of your life that you are seeking advice. That is really big. So you want to take mentorship from people who are successful in the area in which you choose to grow. So really think about that. So are we going to, sometimes it's hard. We live our life with these friends that we grow up with since we were children, and they've always been your confidant. They've always been that person. But are they just playing the victim card with you, or are they really helping you to move forward? Are they just feeling sorry for you, or do they really say, your best interest, you this goal, I'm going to support you, and yeah, we're going to have some hard talks sometimes. We're going to have some truth that we need to discuss because I see what's holding you back. So if I have permission to go there with you, I'm going to help you move forward. Okay, and as a leader, we want to become leaders. We have to say things sometimes uncomfortable that make us feel uncomfortable to help move another person forward. And really thinking about who you're asking for mentorship. And this is what's really exciting. You can be overwhelmed right now, like, oh my gosh, I have so much to grow. Or you can let this be a light, a fire under you that's like, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm scared as all heck. I'm super, 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 super scared. And I'm not going to disregard that. But I'm going to do it scared. And I'm going to try until I get more and more comfortable doing it. And I'm going to take one step in front of the other. And I'm not going to go backwards, and I'm not going to go let fear win anymore, because fear is stopping me from getting the life I want. And I'm going to close it with this. So for many women, the weight of the other people's opinions will be too big a burden to carry. They won't be able to step outside of the safety net because they're too scared. That's not us. We are willing to go after it. We are willing to be audacious, and we are willing to take it on because the chance to live out in our full potential is worth any backlash that comes our way. I care more about changing the world than I do about its opinion of me. Woo! Crazy? So sit on that one, ladies. Let's sit on that one these next couple of weeks. And as we're reading, I think I'm just so fired up. I'm so fired up, and I want to congratulate you all for taking time out of your day, because the people that didn't join us today are giving power to the excuses of why they couldn't make it. So you didn't give power to the excuses, and you made time for you. This is for you. This isn't for me. It is for me. It makes me feel good to help people. But I will tell you, I'm doing this for you. I'm already reading this book. Okay, I'm reading it. I could have read it just all by myself and just enjoyed it and savored it. But I was like, no, there's too many other people that need to read this book, and let's read it together, because it's a lot more fun when we do it together. And I hope that you take away from this tonight that we are all more alike than we are different. So the next time you want to compare yourself to a CEO of a company, or a stay-at-home mom, or somebody who looks like they have the most amazing marriage, the next time you want to put yourself into that comparative game, stop and tell yourself, it's none of my business. I don't know what they got going on behind closed doors. I don't know the fear. If I could tell you guys how much fear I have to break through to get up and do these calls, I don't give power to the fear anymore. Am I scared? Heck yes. I don't know what to expect. I don't know the outcome. I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm just going to go with it. I have no idea, but I do it scared anyway. And that's what I encourage you guys to do, because it may look like, oh yeah, I can speak, or I can do this, and I could get a group of ladies together. There's fear for sure, but I just disregard it now. So I encourage you ladies to do the same. So let's meet up again in 2 weeks. Okay. Let's read to chapter, I guess it would be called part 2, behaviors to adapt or to adopt. So we're going to do the behavior section. And then I'll put another date up in our group. And I'm excited. I hope this brought you all value. Thank you to all of the speakers. You all were amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you all. And share some of your takeaways, ladies, okay? Like, keep it going in the group, and just let us know, like, what value it brought you. Send us messages, because this is what we're doing it for. And definitely connect with your health coach or your mentor, and just say, I'm ready to take this on. Help me take the next couple of steps. Okay? Love you all. Have a great evening, everybody.
Thanks, Lori. Good night, ladies.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Love you all.
Thank you, Lori.
Love you too.